Good morning, children. Last session you had learnt about what is civilization, Indus Valley civilization, and Egyptian civilization, right? Today you will learn about the Mesopotamian civilization and their contribution to the world. Alright? Come on, let's study more about them in detail. Okay? Why they settled near the rivers? What are the reasons for settlement near rivers, children? Let's see here. Civilizations tended to grow up in the river valleys for a number of reasons. They used water for agricultural purpose and human needs. Plentiful water and enrichment of soil due to annual floods made it possible to grow excess crops beyond what was needed to sustain an agricultural village. They this was allowed for some members of the community to engage non agricultural activities such as constructions of buildings and cities. The roots of civilization were metalworking, trade, and social organization. Is it clear? Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. In this module, you'll learn about various tribes which entered Mesopotamia, which affected the development of the Mesopotamian civilization. The word Mesopotamia means the land between rivers. It was due to the two rivers, Euphrates and Tigris, that the West Asian barren land had become very fertile. Look at the map, children. As the food crops could be easily grown because of the fertility of the land, the northern hilly tribes and the southern nomadic tribes of the desert wanted to establish control over this area. Also, the most important area of the Mesopotamian civilization was the southern part of the valley between the Euphrates and Tigris rivers, referred to as Babylonia. The northern part of the Babylonia was called Akkad, southern part called Sumer. The Hanging Garden were created on the bank of the river Euphrates around 7th century BCE. Come on, let's go to Hanging Garden. Children, let's go in. This is the Hanging Garden in Babylonia. Look at the beautiful creation, wonderful construction. This garden was considered as one of the 7 wonders of the world, built by Nebuchadnezzar II. It was so called because the garden was built high above the ground on multi-level stone terraces. Lovely, isn't it? Come on, children, let's climb the stairs. Here we go. We need to climb again. Come on. Wow, lovely pool. Hanging Garden is described as a remarkable feat of engineering. Contained a variety of trees, shrubs, vines. Nebuchadnezzar too built this for his wife because she missed the gardens of her homeland. Very interesting, isn't it? Did you like it, children? Isn't it beautiful? Wow, very beautiful. They were very brilliant in architecture. Let's continue now. The northern part of Mesopotamia was known as Assyria. Although there were many conflicts amongst the tribes to gain control over the fertile land, it eventually led to the emergence of a strong race. The tribes which entered the fertile valley of Mesopotamia were Sumerians, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Persians. These tribes were used a system of writing called cuneiform for their 30 centuries. Sumerians, the hilly tribe from the north, were the first to enter Mesopotamia in 4000 BC. They were the first ones to evolve a system of writing in Mesopotamia. They used to worship their gods on the top of the hills. However, after coming to the plains, they built artificial hills and established their place to worship there, and they were called ziggurats. About 4000 years ago, this brilliant civilization died out. For a long time, it remained as mystery. Come on, let's go inside the ziggurat. Look at the construction, children. So beautiful, isn't it? Yes. Wonderful to look, isn't it? How they did not know to build stairs and therefore surrounded them with sloping galleries. The Jews called these the Towers of Babel. The Sumerians, overpowered by the Akkadians, one of the tribes of the Arabian desert, they were known as Semites. They formed the first united empire where the city-states of the Sumer were united under one ruler. The Akkadian language replaced Sumerian language during this time. After 1000 years, the Akkadians were ruled over the Amorites, another Semitic tribe. The most famous king of the Amorites was Hammurabi, who built a beautiful palace for himself in Babylonia. He framed the codes of law in order to protect the rights of all sections of Babylonian society, especially women and slaves. Mesopotamians believed that the great kings and queens descended from God. They had a great king called Gilgamesh. He was both human and divine. The society had three layers. The upper end were kings, the royal family, priests, and high officials. The middle level consists of farmers, artisans, and traders. The lower end were consisting of slaves. So, what did they do for their living? They grew crops. They also made sculptures and traded as far as Asia, Europe, and Africa. From this period, it also gives us information of how skilled the Mesopotamians were. They made anklet, bracelet, hair decoration, pendants, and amulets. The Ishtar Gate, named after a Mesopotamian goddess of love and war, was one of the 8 gateways that provided entry to the inner city of Babylon. It was decorated with glazed blue bricks that depicted rows of bulls and dragons. And by honoring and invoking the Ishtar Gate, Babylonians hoped for blessings and protection. And I will take you all to Berlin to show you this Ishtar Gate, alright, in the online class. Mesopotamian religion did not believe life after death. They felt that all people, irrespective of good or bad, went underground as ghosts and ate dirt. The king administered on the behalf of gods, and he was responsible for the distribution of food, central grain storage. Is it clear? After the Amorites, the Hittites occupied the valley. The Hittites were overpowered by the Assyrians, who were the followers of Ashura, the desert god. The Assyrians occupied the whole of West Asia and Egypt till about 7th century BCE and collected taxes from all the people there. The Chaldeans were another Semitic tribe who re established Babylonia in the 7th century BC and developed into a prominent capital at that time. Nebuchadnezzar was the greatest king among them and encouraged the study of science. The Chaldeans were attacked by the Persians in the 6th century BC. 200 years later, Alexander transformed this place of Semitic people into a Greek province. After the rulers of the Romans and Turks who followed Alexander, this civilization declined and turned into a wilderness. A short recap. Mesopotamia is the cradle of civilization. It was the birthplace of agriculture. Mathematics, the written work, the government, and the simple inventions changed the world. It is real. The Mesopotamians were intelligent and innovative. They were great artisans and architects. Mesopotamia was one of the oldest civilizations. It first began with Sumerians 3500 BCE. The Akkadians followed the Sumerians and the seated by the Amorites, and this civilization flourished and lasted till 1500 BC. After that, this civilization declined and finally came to an end somewhere around 700 BCE. I hope it was very interesting, children. Thank you. You have a great day and complete the textual exercises. We'll meet you in the next session with Chinese civilization. Thank you. Bye bye.